Welcome back to the Nigeria Decides Studios on the NTA. I am Cyril Stober. This session, I have with me two guests who would be speaking to what we're all anticipating, which will take off in just a matter of hours now. It's a countdown already to the governorship and State House of Assembly elections. Let me welcome at this time David Akoji, who is Special Assistant to the Director General, National Orientation Agency, NOA. David, welcome.
Thank you very much, Cyril. Good evening, viewers.
All right. And we also have here Mukhtar Halilu Madibbu. He is a Community Engagement Assistant of Connected Development and Head Data Collections, Code Observers. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. At this point in time, we'll be heading over to Kaduna Network Center, where Amina Dogonyaru is sitting in tonight. Amina, good evening, and tell us what's happening in Kaduna at this time.
To do with the North were hatched in Kaduna. And not only that,
well, okay, we'll at some point in time link up with our Kaduna Center, but let's come back here to Abuja and take up some issues that are already playing up. And easily the first thing that comes to mind is that, yes, it's a countdown to the elections, and people are hoping it will be free, fair, credible, violence-free, but there are some disturbing signs already. And I'm talking about the fire incident in Akwa Ibom State. What's your take on that?
Well, that's quite unfortunate. And it hallmarks the fact of why security becomes a big issue every election season. Nigerians appear not to have learned much lessons, over the years, in spite of the concerted efforts of government and security agencies. We still see incidents like this that do not help the maturing process of our democracy. I think that the incident of burning INEC office and burning INEC equipment is condemnable. It ought not to be at all.
Well, Doctor, what do you say about that?
I get surprised whenever I hear these kind of things, because this is 21st century. And this election is all about youth. Youth are the police officers, youth are the INEC ad hoc staffs, youth are all over. Youth are all over doing this thing. So I get surprised. Who are these people doing all these things? And it's actually condemnable. Like, it's not something we need to be seeing by this time of the year. This is 21st century. We expect to see innovative ideas from all these people that are doing all these things. So we still shut down country for election. Why do government shut down country for election? It's because of this kind of things. These are things that ought to be happening. It's not something that needs to happen. Because election is something that is going to bring development to a country. If election is not being held, how do you expect to achieve what you want to see in the country? So I see people doing all these things as not human beings. Because a human being cannot do what will affect him. Because this thing is actually affecting everybody. It's not only affecting you as a person, it's affecting everybody. So I think it's not something to even talk about.
Well, happily enough, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it will not affect tomorrow's elections, and that the polls will still go on regardless of this. So that's something to at least cheer about. And
Yes.
otherwise you'd begin to think maybe they would have to put up the elections on that center. But happily, that won't happen. So let's start with you and say, yes, Code Observers, what have you observed so far in the build-up to this election?
Yeah, so you see, we have a platform called Usabe. Now, this platform is a platform that gives you lifetime situation of anything that we're reporting. So first of all, I would say we have over 5,000 observers across 33 or 34 states in Nigeria. Now, we at Code, we at Connected Development are after the processes of election, not result. We don't report anything that is result. We only report anything that is the process of the election. Now, if I said the process, I mean from the collection center to collect the sensitive and non-sensitive materials, to the polling station, to the ballot issues, to the security issues. I think we all know that each and every polling unit will have 4 unarmed police officers, and I think armed police officers 300 meters away from the polling station. So we've recorded a whole lot of issues. We've recorded positive issues. I think we've only recorded, 102 positive issues of everything went smooth and things like that. We've recorded issues like polling unit issues. If I said polling unit issues, what I mean is we have issues like polling units did not open on time, late coming of INEC staffs, and failure to come with the full non-sensitive materials, places like things like ink, things like full identification of INEC staffs and what have you. So these are mostly the issues we've recorded. We've recorded issues of security, and I think the issue that really catch my eyes is issue of bomb in Borno, and issue of one issue we recorded in Bauchi, Karofi local government. And the reports came to us as a shock that unidentified DSS officer was seen snapping picture and questioning voters on some sort of issues, which leads to chaos and people mob to beat him up and what have you. So these are basically mostly issues, and I think we've recorded issues of underage voting, which INEC review, and they're going to do something about it, and I think I will say maybe if they did something about it, it's a welcome idea.
Okay, so hopefully these matters, these issues would have been taken care of before the polls open tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully we'll see a better managed election than what we saw
that is what we are hoping, and it's going to happen.
All right, let's come back to you, David. And coming from 2 weeks back and hoping that whatever issues that were thrown up 2 weeks ago would certainly by now have been taken care of. We've heard INEC officials say that they've learned a lot of lessons and that they are fully mobilized this time around, and it's expected that all the polling units will open at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I want to commend INEC's resilience and their decision to be optimistic and positive. Yes. This would be put to the test by tomorrow to see whether indeed, in line with their confidence, the polls will open at 8 a.m. If it does, it will help the system a great deal. Yes. And it will boost the confidence of both voters and observers of the election and make a lot of us very happy.
All right. Well, okay, we tried to link up earlier on and there was some sort of a glitch, but I think this time around it's okay, it was going to be smooth sailing as we link up now with our Kaduna Network Center, and Amina Dogonyaru is sitting in tonight. Let's say a very good evening to you, Amina. Tell us what's happening in Kaduna at this time.
Thank you, Cyril. Good evening. Welcome to Kaduna Network Center on Nigeria Decides. With me tonight in the studio are Commissioner of Police Ahmed Abdurrahman.
A very good evening to you.
And Honorable Muhammad Ali, an election observer.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Good evening, gentlemen. Before we delve into our discussion, we'll take 2 reports from Kaduna and Jigawa. From the Kaduna, we'll take Benny Adams and Awal Kazor from Jigawa on the level of INEC's preparation for tomorrow's election.
The presence of heavily armed security men here gives credence to the fact that security is tight ahead of the governorship as well as House of Assembly elections, which is just hours away from now. I have with me Abdullahi Kagama, the resident electoral commissioner. With this robust security arrangement, how ready are you for tomorrow's polls?
Well, actually for tomorrow's election, we are ready. All was our sensitive and non-sensitive materials are on ground, and they have been in the respective local government since Wednesday, and now they have moved to the racks this evening, getting ready in the racks charging the car readers, refresher training now in the ranks. So early tomorrow morning's opening of the election.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Well, that was the resident electoral commissioner, Abdullahi Kaugama, telling prospective voters for tomorrow's polls that without the card reader, your vote will not count. That is the situation here at the INEC office in Kaduna. It's over to you in the studio for the continuation of Nigeria Decides.
Thank you, Benny. Thank you, Benny. We'll now take our Kazore's report from Jigawa State on INEC's preparation in Jigawa.
Addressing newsmen, the resident electoral commissioner, Dr. Mahmoud Isa, said they are fully prepared for the Saturday's governorship and state assembly elections.
We added more standby erratic staff, that's technician, that can help us in case of any problem of technology failure with the card readers, and we added more card readers, what we call backup.
On the challenges of persons with disabilities during election, the resident electoral commissioner said the commission will provide polling units identified with the people living with disability with items that will ease their voting process.
The only thing is the participation of people with disabilities is very, very less. Very, very less during the last election. But however, we try as much as possible to encourage people with disability to participate in.
Some of the party representatives appreciated the process adopted by the electoral body and expressed hope for free, fair and successful elections.
The items of election have arrived since Sunday. They have colors, and we have identified the items which we agreed that is complete.
It's very important to follow these sensitive materials with our agents backing the vehicle carrying these sensitive materials up to the local government office.
The commission has since commenced the conveyance of sensitive materials to various local government offices with security operatives escorting the materials.
That was our report. Commissioner, you can see that INEC has shown us their level of preparation. And in these elections, the security apparatus and INEC are the major players. What are your preparations towards tomorrow's election?
Well, thank you. The preparations that we have made here in Kaduna State Command towards a peaceful conduct of the elections are very much clear. One, we make sure that here we deployed over 13,000 policemen in addition to our sister services that we always collaborate and cooperate and synergize together. So what we did was, after the presidential election, we sat down in the command and reviewed our performance. So where we felt that we need to do more, we have strengthened those areas now. And areas that we anticipate that there will be need for us to, put our eyes on, we over-deployed areas like Birnongwari, areas like Chukum, areas like Giwa, and the southern Kaduna, including Sanga. So we have done our robust deployment in addition to the additional forces we received from other security agencies. And apart from that, in order to reduce the incidence of thuggery, we increased our patrolling and raiding. So we raided so many communities and flashpoints and black spots to the extent that we arrested all those that we have found to be preparing to cause trouble and, bring hitches during the elections. Most of them are now, cooling down in our detentions. We're investigating them, especially those that we found with weapons. Some of these weapons are local, but they are very, very, venomous. So we seized the weapons, we kept them. We will continue to keep them until after elections, then we charge them to court. So having said this, you will find out the atmosphere is very cool and ready to allow a level playing ground to the electorate so that they will exercise their franchise unperturbed without any molestation. And we had series of stakeholders meeting Yesterday, I sat down with the clerics from the Christian faith, and we talked to them that there is the need for them to come in and contribute their quota by preaching peace, and especially targeting the youths who are those that are being used by other, agitators and competitors in trying to, extend their own selfish interests to truncate the elections, especially where they feel that they are weak. So we now got these clerics, and they were happy. They expressed their happiness and readiness to help us. And today, also, during the before the Friday prayers, we have spoken with the imams. All of them have agreed, and we could see that the threat that was going around as information that some youths are ready to fight in the mosques during the services today, if especially some imams decided to play, to preach exclusive preaching, so that some other parties should not be voted for, as the rumors was going. So I talked to the imams and I appealed to them, and you could see that the services have been very peaceful. And this is to tell you that we are going to have a peaceful elections, and the Inspector General of Police, in his magnanimity, having interest in Kaduna, so that we will have everything under a peaceful atmosphere. He deployed other forces as reinforcement, about 8 additional units of the PMF Police Mobile Force, in addition to sending me a surveillance aircraft, which will continue to go around and see what is happening from aerial view, and then we coordinate with ground troops. So I am telling you that the police and all other security agencies have prepared for this ahead, and better preparation than even the presidential election.
Good to know. Honorable Muhammad Ali, yes. One of the biggest problems we have during election period is rumor mongering.
Yes.
You have heard what the Commissioner of Police has said they have done towards tackling that. As someone coming in from the civil society organizations, what have you done to douse this problem and douse this tension?
Basically, we have tried to use the social media, which is the roots through which rumor mongering emanates. And rumor mongering is dangerous to society, particularly at times like this, when we are a few hours to general elections, the gubernatorial elections and state assembly elections. And these elections are dicey because these are the elections that actually affect the grassroots. Everybody is involved.
There's genuine interest.
A lot of interest is at stake. So for this, we have to actually reach out. We have had several advocacy meetings with various groups, be it women, youths, the imams, as Commissioner said, and the clergies. We've spoken at length and have tried to show them the need to develop mutual understanding and trust in spite of our diversity, so that together we'll be able to build a very real and strong democracy, not just in Kaduna State, but in Nigeria as a whole. So a lot has been done, and a lot is still going on. In fact, as of the time you called me, I was chairing another meeting this night on the way forward tomorrow, because we want to see one of the best elections ever held in Kaduna State by tomorrow, by the special grace of Allah.
Commissioner, one of the things he mentioned was this is an election that is very, very close to the grassroots. Expectedly, we might have a larger voter turnout than the presidential elections. How will this crowd be managed by your people in a non-intimidating manner, in such a way that they can exercise their franchise comfortably and very peacefully?
Well, thank you, but don't forget that the registration has not been increased in terms of the people that are registered per election area. No, I know.
Yes.
But as you said, the turnout is expected to be, better than that of the 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But our preparation was based on what we had on paper, that so people are registered per this area. So with the robust and more deployment, everything will come and go. And don't forget that people will not come all at the same time. voting and accreditation are a continuous process, not as before. People will come and be accredited, then wait, and then come and do the voting. That brought about so many problems, and it was very cumbersome. But now it's just you come, you will be accredited, then you will go and vote. And beautifully enough is that voting is one after the other. That's why we said that when one comes with his handset, he will drop it on the table provided there, then he enters the cubicle or the place that is specially provided for casting the votes, then he will vote, come out, then take his handset, then go out. If he decides to stay, he will walk 300 meters and then stay there, and or go home and peacefully wait for the results. So you will find out that the increase in number of security men, I don't want to say police only, because police, we could not man the whole polling units or polling centers. That's why we have our collaboration with our other officers. Just as people should know, last time people will go and tell other officers or government agencies that police are not there. I mean, security agencies are not there. Just because if they see only one police, while they don't consider immigration as security, they don't consider custom officer as security, they don't consider even civil defense as security. But we work collaboratively. That's why we do not even allow people to carry arms. Even mobile policemen will not carry arms on that very arena, because we want the voters to feel 100% free and then unintimidated, so that they will cast their votes. If there is problem, we know where to contact, where we kept the armed policemen and the armed soldiers. We will quickly get them to go and do the needful and then go back. But I am telling you, we don't feel that there was a problem.
So additionally to what the commissioner said, actually the police, the issue of crowd control is basic. But with the arrangements, we need to give a thumbs up for INEC. We need to give a thumbs up for the police, because the Nigerian police force is the lead agency as far as election security is concerned. Other security agencies in the country will only come in as a backup to the police to ensure absolute security before, during, and after the elections. They're all doing very well. And with the new arrangement by INEC, where simultaneous accreditation and voting will take place, I don't see why we're going to have any crowd at any particular polling unit, provided people conduct themselves with civility. I think we're not going to have any problem.
Honorable, I remember you mentioned that you had some meetings with a lot of groups, the women, the youth, the what have you. Yes. Do you think from those meetings you have addressed voter apathy?
That actually is what we have been doing since the last 10 days, sending women right into houses, particularly women who are in Puda. We have to get other women to go into those houses and preach to them and tell them their votes is their right. So they need to come out on elections day in order to exercise their franchise of voting a leader of their choice. And to say the least, I think we have succeeded, because the euphoria and kind of excitement we've seen in both women, youth, and the males is actually very, very encouraging. We're going to see a very large turnout by tomorrow, by the special grace of Allah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'll get back to you, but we'll also take another report from Ibrahim Bello Gunda on the expectations of the people in this election.
All is now set for the second lap of the 2019 general elections, and Nigerians are set to elect those that will represent them in the next 4 years as their governor and State House of Assembly members. Let me go and ask some of the people to see how they are preparing for the 2019 general elections.
We pray that the election will hold fine, very good, where everybody will like it. All we want is peace and a good leader who will lead us very well.
I'm well prepared for tomorrow election. You can see rise our intermarket just to get things to buy for tomorrow election.
Nobody travel home because all of us registered here.
By God's grace, I want to go to Zaria so that I can vote at my polling unit.
One of the significant things that we found out is that people are moving about their daily businesses and are hopeful that the election will be peaceful. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Bello Gwenda. You can hear from his report the expectation of the people. They expect to vote peacefully and for their votes to count. On the level of people, Honorable Muhammad Ali, that are contesting for this thing, do you think the people are getting their voters' card value?
So far, as for the last elections, if it's we can use that as a yardstick of judgment. People have gotten the value of their voters' card. Their votes have counted. Having seen what we saw and the way the results came out, our votes have certainly counted. So what is intrinsic at the moment is people are actually itching in order to go out and vote, not just for governors, but to vote for vibrant members of the House of Assemblies who will actually represent them. Not just, pushovers or people who will not actually represent their constituents. Because going into the State Assembly is not just to be there to warm your seats. You are supposed to be there to legislate. And in the course of legislation, whatever you're going to do, it has to be in tandem with the aspirations and expectations of your constituents. But where we go to the assemblies and start to become rubber stamps of the executive, certainly something is missing. And this is when democracy, so to say, will not be as vibrant as it should be. Because we will expect to see a very vibrant legislature where things will be done by the book and where challenges will come. But by the time a legislature allows itself to become, answerable to its executive without, any challenge, such legislature, I think, are not living up to the expectations of the electorate.
Commissioner, one of the problems we face after elections like this is electoral violence after the election. Based on the performance of the security apparatus in the last election, they were adjudged to have done very well. What preparations have you done in case of breakdown of law and order after this election?
Yes, we always don't take chance in the business of security. We have our own plan. After election, we call it post-election management. It's very important, and it has been captured by our operation order. We have all the, firepower of the police kept ready, and apart from that, immediately after the results have been declared, there will be a robust patrolling into the nooks and crannies of the state, not only Kaduna, and we will have a very serious aerial patrol. As I told you, I have been equipped with surveillance helicopter. My colleague in the Air Force 2, Air Commodore Sani, has gotten the approval from the Chief of Air Staff. He has also surveillance helicopters which have the capacity of even, fighting from the air. So with these preparations, we are assuring members of the public and all Nigerians that, especially on our own side, Kaduna State, there will be no much problem. Kaduna is always being seen from outside as if we are living in another Bosnia-Herzegovina or Rwanda. But to everybody that comes into Kaduna with the help of God and what the security, especially the police and all other collaborative agencies are doing, we are living peacefully, and we will expect that after the elections that people will continue to enjoy their peace even more. Thank you.
That's very assuring and good thing. Honorable
Yes.
Muhammad Ali,
Yes.
in your interactions with the groups,
Yes.
have you discussed electoral violence? Have you prepared for electoral violence?
There will be no electoral violence, but we have discussed extensively, particularly with the youths, because youths are the vanguard being used for violence. We've discussed with them, and we've made them to understand that they have a life to live after these elections. They have their lives to live, and if any politician wants them to engage in violence, they have to give him a caveat, and that caveat is the politician, he or she, should bring his own child to lead the gang. Right? Because all these youths that are being used by politicians are children of other people. So if electoral thuggery is something to do, politicians will bring their children, let them lead the group. But where no politician brings out his children to be part of the thuggery, this confirms that thuggery is wrong. So for that, we've advocated and exhorted all these young men and women that they should say no to violence. Elections is not war. Elections is just a chance for people to exercise their franchise of choosing leaders of their own choice. There is no compulsion in it, and so there is no reason at all. In fact, you need not even to carry a biro to the polling station, because you don't need a biro there. All you need is your PVC, your PVC, or your thumbs. So if with that is okay. So we have, I think, to a large extent succeeded. And of course, as the Honorable Commissioner said, people from outside Kaduna, they are being given a very negative picture of Kaduna. It's like Kaduna is always at war. I want to seize this opportunity to tell them that Kaduna is very peaceful. The elections will come and go, and everything will be peaceful in Kaduna by the special grace of God. Because the police, in conjunction with other agencies of security, are doing a very marvelous job to ensure that elections hold and peacefully too. So people should not actually be looking on to Kaduna as, in fact, from the projections made before the presidential election, Kaduna was part of the flash points where people have advocated that there will be violence. But even Achikin, throughout the elections on the 23rd of February, even Achikin was not hot, not to talk of killing alive. So we thank God for seeing us through the elections successfully, and we equally pray Allah to make tomorrow's election peaceful and more tranquil than the presidential election.
Thank you, Honorable Muhammad Ali.
Thank you.
Kaduna, like Honorable Muhammad Ali said, is a state that is very important to the politics of Nigeria. Essentially, we have a mini feature from Abdullahi Muhammad on Kaduna. What is Kaduna and who is Kaduna?
Administrative focal point was the movement of the colonial administrative headquarters from Zungeru to the Crocodile City in 1916. This remarkable move gave rise to the location of critical administrative, educational, as well as defense institutions spreading across Kaduna, making it one of Nigeria's metropolitan settings.
Every discussion that has to do with Nigeria, that has to do with the North, were hatched in Kaduna. And not only that, since the colonial period, Kaduna has been a center of military institutions. And therefore, all the political shenanigans in relation to military regimes were equally hatched in Kaduna.
Standing tall among the legacies is the imposing structure known as Lugat Hall, a replica of the British House of Commons. It is now used as the center of lawmaking for the state, and the Lugat Memorial Chamber as a meeting point for elders and traditional rulers from across the region.
It signifies the beginning, how everything started and up to today. In terms of democratic governance and growth, it still symbolizes that continuous democratic development here in the country.
The city continues to assert its prominence when the Northern Regional Government also sat on the saddle of power, utilizing the established colonial system to run the affairs of the region.
Being the headquarters of the northern politics and the seat of government then, Kaduna State is very, very relevant and so strategic in the polity of this country.
And when the calls for independence yielded fruits, Kaduna emerged as one of the new states that formed the federation. Today, the city has evolved as one of the most advanced in terms of infrastructure competing favorably with those that make the roll calls. By the numerics of the 2019 voter registration and collection of permanent voter cards, more than 3 million people across the 23 local government areas of the state collected their PVCs, placing Kaduna the third largest in number of eligible voters among the 36 states of the Federation.
The number of registered voters in Kaduna, which incidentally is the third highest in the Federation, stands at 3,932,492. And that includes the 3.4 or thereabouts that were used for the 2015 general election.
These clearly indicates the political consciousness of the people, which has been sown by the footprints of the colonial influence, as well as those regarded as the founding fathers of the politics of northern Nigeria.
Honorable Muhammad Ali, you've seen from the report that Kaduna was the center of the north, hence a melting pot of sorts. Do you think all the interests in Kaduna have been addressed by your civil society organizations in terms of awareness, campaigns, and talks that you have had?
Certainly, yes. All the interest groupings, the divergent viewpoints, and so on, have been curiously and meticulously addressed, so that we can have a very balanced and good outcome by tomorrow when we march to the fields in order to exercise our franchise. And we also have to say a very big thank you to the clergies and imams who have been out there really ready and working hard to appeal to their congregations that as we march out to the tomorrow for the elections, they should put it behind their minds that leadership is from God. He gives it to whom he wills and takes it away from whoever he wills. So it is not about me and you going to fight or me going to snatch a ballot box and run away with it. No. It is about allowing people to follow the right process, and then at the end of it, at the end of the voting, the POs will do the counting and results will be entered, and finally collation will take place, and at the end of the day a winner will certainly emerge. So we should again, at the time at about the emergence of the winners, we should be very good sportsmen and women. That is to say, we should accept with humility whatever the outcome of the elections gives. This we have been able to do, and we sincerely thank the clergies and the imams that have been there for everybody in Kaduna State. We thank them sincerely, and we wish also to use this opportunity to further appeal to citizens of Kaduna State that tomorrow is the D-Day. Tomorrow is the day that everybody should be ready with his or her PVC to come out quietly and calmly in order to exercise his or her franchise without casting aspersion on any individual.
Thank you, Honorable Muhammad Ali. Commissioner, what last words would you give the people as reassurance so that they can come out and exercise their vote peacefully?
Yes, the most disturbing question that I've been receiving is that what about people that live in a certain area, certain community, while their livelihood is being pursued on another community? And that was why they registered their, voters cards there. So will they be disenfranchised tomorrow, since there is restriction of movement from 0600 hours to 1800 hours, meaning from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening? I said no, nobody will be disenfranchised because he lives in one area and he pursues his means of subsistence in one area. For example, in Kaduna, it has been observed that Rigasa, a very big settlement, most of the people, about 95% of them, pursue their livelihoods outside Rigasa. So they did their registration in where they do their tradings and their own businesses. Now that there will be restriction, are they going to remain home and therefore deprived of voting? I said no, capital no. They will come out to go and vote, but they do need to have a visa, and that visa is their PVC. Anybody that is leaving his area to go and vote in the area that he registered is guaranteed to do so insofar as he has his valid PVC. The security agencies, we have lectured them that whoever that is going to vote from where he sleeps to where he needs to go and vote where he registered must be given opportunity to do so, and his security must be guaranteed. So every security agent is aware of this, and every voter will be aided and assisted and given a very good atmosphere through which he should move, whether by road, by trekking, or on his motorcycle or vehicle, to go and cast his vote.
Thank you, Commissioner Ahmed Abdurrahman, Commissioner of Police, Kaduna State, Ahmed Abdurrahman. We are run out of time. Honorable Muhammad Ali, maybe tomorrow we'll take you again. Okay, that is all from Kaduna Network Center. Back to you, Syria in Abuja.
All right. Thank you very much, Amina. And we're back in Abuja. But an interesting thing which the police commissioner has spoken about in Kaduna is what applies to so many places, and even in the FCT here, where there will be elections into the area councils. And it's the question of movement of voters. And it's been raised that there are some people who registered in their places of work or business, and they live somewhere else. And usually the restriction of movement affects such people. Now, you can appreciate where the Kaduna State Police Command is going to when they say, okay, if you have your PVC, you'll be allowed free movement. But take the FCT, for instance, David, where vehicular traffic is being restricted between 6 in the morning and 6 in the evening. Knowing as large as the FCT can be, there are some people who might have registered somewhere in Yaya, or some people who registered somewhere in the city center, and they live in Yaya. And if you restrict vehicular movement, you don't expect they'll be able to trek the distance from Yaya to the city center to vote. Would they be able to do that?
That would certainly pose some challenges, Cyril. And I think the relevant authorities need to respond to that challenge and explain more to voters how that would sort itself out. This possession of the PVC, which becomes your visa to move from the point of where you are resident to the point of where you are supposed to vote. I think the questions that need to be answered would include questions like, does that include interlocal government movement? For instance, someone whose office is in the city, like you said, Cyril, but lives in Nyanya. You understand? Would he be allowed to move from Nyanya and go all the way to Beitama or Asokoro where he works and where he registered to vote? And if yes, how is that going to happen?
So somehow, somewhere, we'll have to deal with that. It may not be now, but in the future, Nigeria would have to deal with this issue of restriction of movement during elections, because it does happen, and so many people are disenfranchised as a result of that.
Yes. You see, I'm coming from an organization whereby our mission is to empower marginalized communities, hard-to-reach communities. So most of these communities, let's use Abuja as an example. You might have someone working in the central area, and he lives in Kubu or Masaka of Nasarawa State. So how do you expect him to trek from there to here? So it's something, if the police are going to allow people to trek with their PVC, why not? Use a tag. It takes INEC 4 years to organize election. So I think that time they can use something like tags. Let's say if you're collecting your PVC, and this is where you stay. Let's say you are in Masaka and you're coming to central area to vote. Why don't they give you your PVC and with a tag to maybe use on your car or on your motorcycle that will transport you? If that, it's not all of us that are mobile or anything, so they should provide maybe a means of transportation, identified means of transportation and bus stops for that.
Since you will not be expected to vote from, you know, apart from where you registered. But maybe as the system improves, we'll get to the stage where you can vote anywhere you are. But then, well, INEC says it is set for the state elections, which kick off in a few hours from now. The National Commissioner, Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, stated this while speaking to our correspondent, Mir Ugidi. Now, the INEC National Commissioner also reacted to the fire incident that took place in one of the Commission's offices in Akwa Ibom State, as well as the death of the APC candidate of the Adamawa State Assembly elections.
Most of the states, the ballot papers, result sheets, and other election materials left the central bank early enough. As of now, some of them have already finished batching the materials and getting ready to move tomorrow morning. So as of today, I believe that we are prepared for the conduct of these elections. I believe that we are going to do much, much better than we did during the presidential and national assembly elections. So we got information that there was a fire incident at the Ibesibo Asutan local government office of the Independent National Electoral Commission. During the fire incident, the commission lost a total of 198 smart card readers. We lost the voters register. We lost 13 generators. We lost voting cubicles and other equipment. Fortunately, the ballot papers and the result sheets for the conduct of the elections were not affected. So what we have done is that we have liaised with the resident electoral commissioner for Akwa Ibom State, and we have quickly re-engineered things and replaced the smart card readers that were lost in the fire incident. And we want to assure the people of the local government and the people of Akwa Ibom State that we are ready for the elections in Akwa Ibom State and all the elections, including the elections in the local government where this fire incident took place. It's unfortunate that on Wednesday, a member of the Adamawa State House of Assembly and the candidate of the All Progressives Congress participating in this particular election died. He represents, as at now, he represents Nasarawa Binyeri State Constituency in Mayo Belwa local government. His name is Adamu Kwanate. What the law says is that the moment somebody passes on, after the close of nominations and before polls open, the commission, being satisfied of the death of that person, shall countermand that particular election and fix another date for the conduct of the elections within a period of 14 days. That is exactly what the commission has done.
All right, that's INEC National Commissioner Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, reacting to the fire incident in Akwa Ibom State, and of course the death of the APC candidate in Mayo Belwa local government area of Adamawa State, and the action that the Independent National Electoral Commission has taken with regards to that. So it's a good thing that the elections in Akwa Ibom will go on and that the fire didn't affect the ballot papers, as we heard there, and even in that local government, the polls will open hopefully at 8 o'clock in the morning. And for the case of Adama, it says INEC has taken that step to put off the elections. By law, they have 14 days within which to do that, and so that's one unfortunate incident. But there are so many issues about this set of elections, and you've heard people say that this is perhaps more crucial and more critical than the ones we had 2 weeks ago, and that's because this set of elections is to bring in people who are closer to the grassroots, and therefore so much is at stake. Perhaps this is why passions are high, tempers are, brewing over, and in some places there are still reports that, people are a bit tense, worried about what will happen tomorrow. What are your thoughts?
You know, across the states, we have seen election campaigns being driven by various issues. There are states where religion seems to have taken the center stage, and we have seen narratives in the social media and in other media spaces that are really not encouraging, that do not promote national unity and national cohesion. I think this is gaining ground because our citizens do not engage with the governance process to the extent of asking questions as to how government is affecting their lives positively, you know. So it then becomes easy to play the religious card and to play on the emotions of the people, and then people become blinded to the realism, you know, of what is it that government is supposed to deliver to the citizen, irrespective of the person's religion, tribe, you know, or creed. And this is what is really important. The questions that people should be asking at the time of election should be, what do I expect this candidate to do for my community? How is his being in office going to improve our lot as a people as he goes forward to represent us? I think that with time we will come to a point where the issues would be these particular factors that I've described, and then perhaps religion, tribe, and region would begin to play much, much lesser roles.
Okay.
Yes, in the process of election.
Okay, right away we'll link up with another of our centers. This time it's the Center of Excellence, Lagos, and Bayo Adewusi is right there. Hello, Bayo. The countdown has begun, so bring us up to date.
It looks like you're doing great. Well, Lagosians are ready to cast their ballot this Saturday in the governorship and House of Assembly elections as the Nigeria police assures citizens of a violence-free exercise. Rotimi Oluwagbemi spoke with a cross-section of Lagosians on their readiness.
Right now, as you can see me like this, I'm going to the various places where I collected my voter's card before tomorrow.
Yeah, I have my voter's card and I will go out to vote tomorrow.
If I can reach my destination today, I will try my possible best to do so, to try my possible best to vote tomorrow.
We'll go and vote tomorrow. I have my PVC, so I'll go and do my voting. We are all preparing for tomorrow's election, and we just hope everything is going to work fine.
My preparation for tomorrow, I will vote, yes, for the right person.
The preparation is to go and vote, and you perform your own rights as a nation, as a citizen of this nation.
Because we've done the first one, which is February 23rd, and everything went well. Even though we have small itches from some areas that has maybe one violence or the other, but all the same, we expect a very, very peaceful election tomorrow.
The tension have passed. This one is going to be very peaceful.
I get a voter now. I'm ready for Saturday. I go voter.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Zubairu Muazu, has assured Lagosians of adequate protection of their lives and property during and after the elections.
We have had several stakeholder meetings in my own office with the leaders of the various nationalities, the Igbo community leaders, the Hausa community leaders, the Yoruba community leaders. We have had stakeholder meetings with market associations in my office just to reassure them that what happened in Okota is not going to repeat itself. Patients should come out, Okota inclusive, and mass, because the environment tomorrow will be very safe and secure for them to cast their votes.
In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
Thank you, Rotimi, for that report. As before the gubernatorial and state House of Assembly elections, correspondent Ken Egbelue, who went to town to observe the mood of the people, reports that Lagosians are eagerly looking forward to casting the ballot. His report.
The mood is calm, it's cool in Lagos, actually, and people are relaxing, preparing for tomorrow's election, although it might be different from what we had last time, the last presidential election, because the mood is going to change. Because state elections are highly very competitive than presidential, because there are a lot of competitors and people are competing to take over the seat of power in their various states.
We have to get home on time because it's not fun in the night.
the traffic is always hectic. Getting home, the last time I came out like this, I got home the next day. But I have to go and do my rights, civic rights.
People are traveling and prepare for the election. That is why you see some area is quiet.
They should try to beef up security. So because of all those staffs that they don't know the importance of the election.
Lagosians bearing their minds on tomorrow's elections in the state. A drive-through, major roads and streets proved that law and order was enforced in the metropolis as the atmosphere was calm with people going about their personal and business activities. Some of the routes were free of chaotic traffic, with vehicles moving with relative ease, although there were pockets of traffic on a few roads. When NTA visited some motor parks in Yaba and Jibowu, we observed that passengers were traveling to their various destinations ahead of the election. Meanwhile, the public Relation Officer of INEC in the state has reassured the people of Lagos of the commitment of the electoral umpire.
INEC is fully prepared for tomorrow's gubernatorial and state house of assembly election. All the materials needed for the election are now in all the 20 local government areas of the state. And I urge all Nigerians, Lagosians, to please come out and vote because their security is guaranteed.
45 governorship candidates are contesting for the governor of the state in Lagos. Ken Igbeluke, NTA News.
Thank you, Ken, for that report. Well, I am joined by Mr. Mohammed Jimo, a legal practitioner and a regular contributor to this program. Welcome, Mohammed.
Good evening, viewers.
Nigeria decides tomorrow the gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections. What are your best hopes?
My best hopes, Lagos being center of excellence, is that voters should come out en masse to vote. The presidential election that took place on 23rd of February has this distance in their mind that is for Abuja. This is our own in Lagos. So voters should come out en masse and vote for candidates of their choice. The words from the Commissioner of Police from the clip we earlier watched are reassuring that all is set for a very peaceful, conduct of the polls, so that there will be no let or hindrance or inhibitions, knowing that you are safe to go and exercise your franchise.
What are your greatest fears?
Well, my greatest fears will be voters' apathy, because with the population of Lagos and the number of PVCs collected as released by INEC, voters' turnout in the last presidential election wasn't as encouraging as one had expected. Knowing that the beauty of democracy is that it affords voters the opportunity to participate in the governance of their own affair through their own representatives. So you have no right to complain that the government is not doing right if you stay aloof, if you stay on the fence. Whatever life you desire for yourself in the next 4 years, you should be able to express that through the representatives of your choice, which is what this election presents to the voters.
Yes, but why is the apathy in Lagos so glaring? I mean, Lagos, the center of excellence, there's a high level of literacy, there's a high level of awareness, judging by the number of persons who collected the PVCs. We have the greatest number in Lagos State, over 5 million. Yet, just a little over 1 million participated actively in the presidential and National Assembly elections. Is it because they're not impressed by the governance?
I think it has more to do with voter sensitization and education than being impressive or the performance of the government of the day. It shouldn't just be because if you look at the Electoral Act, one of the core mandates of INEC is voters' education on electoral processes. And
well, INEC will tell you that they have even bent over backwards and they have collaborated with the National Orientation Agency to sensitize Lagosians and people all over the country for as much as they can.
Yes, if you remember the days of MAMSA, if you're a teacher, teach well. If you're a lawyer, argue well. If you're a judge, judge well. There are very catchy phrases that can move, with the people. And the political parties in this instance have a role to play, because the more enlightened followers you have, the better your chances at the polls. You recall, you recall the number of voided votes in the presidential election. It was about 1.4 million. That is too high in 2019 with our literacy level. So a lot of people perhaps
Did you bother to sit back or analyze what was responsible for that large a number of voided votes?
Well, on the surface, the plethora of political parties which reduce the boxes, against a political party's logo could be responsible, because if you don't place your thumb properly within the box, if you shift into another box, they wouldn't know the particular political party you are voting for, and that will automatically void your vote. Whereas you would think you are exercising your franchise, you have actually disenfranchised yourself.
Well, I'll have to interrupt you a little here and take the next report. Since the creation of Lagos in 1967, 14 governors made of military and civilians have piloted the affairs of the state till date. Ken Egbelue presents a roll call of chief executives of the state.
Lagos is the largest city in Nigeria as well as on the African continent. It is one of the fastest growing and also one of the most populous urban cities in the world. It houses one of the largest and busiest ports on the continent. Lagos initially emerged as a port city.
If you go into the maritime sector, you equally see that this is the only place where the port activities are taking place in Nigeria. About 75% to 80% of imports and exports are done in Lagos. So that attracts a lot of people to the city.
It originated from a collection of islands, the present-day local government areas of Lagos Island, Etiosa, Amuwo-Odofin, and Apapa. The city area was governed directly by the federal government through the Lagos City Council. Until the creation of Lagos State in 1967, Lagos played a dual role of being the state and federal capital. But in 1976, the state capital was moved to Ikeja. In 1991, the seat of the federal government was formally relocated to Abuja. Since the creation of Lagos State, 9 military officers have governed the state, while others were civilians. The first governor of the state was Brigadier Mobolaji Johnson. He assumed office in 1967 and left in 1975. Commodore Adekunle Lawal was governor between 1975 and 1977. Commodore Ndubisi Kanu ruled the state from 1977 to 1978. Commodore Ebitu Ukiwe was governor in 1978 and left in 1979. The first civilian governor of the state was Lateef Jakonde of the Unity Party of Nigeria from 1979 to 1983. Air Commodore Bolaon Mudashiru ruled the state between 1984 and 1986. And Navy Captain Mike Ahigbe was the state governor from 1986 to 1988. Others were Brigadier Raji Rasaki, who ruled the state from 1988 to 1992. Michael Otedola of the National Republican Congress governed the state for a year, 1992 to 1993. Colonel Olagusoye Oyinola ruled the state from 1993 to 1996, while the last military governor of the state was Colonel Buba Marwa from 1996 to 1999. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu became the governor of the state after the transition from military to civilian rule in 1999. He governed the state for 8 years. From 2007 to 2015, Babatunde Fashola was the governor of the state. Finally, Akinwumi Ambode took office in 2015 and is expected to hand over the affairs of the state to one of the 45 governorship candidates in the March 9 election.
So the new government should look at those ones: health, education, human capital development in terms of skill acquisition, training, and vocational training, to be able to make people, even if you are not going to get job, you'll be able to be employed.
Who becomes the 15th governor of the state? Only time will tell. In Lagos, Ken Egbelue, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Ken. The voters will decide tomorrow. As the battle for the seat of Lagos State gathers momentum, correspondents take a look at the profile of the foreigners at the seat of power. Mohammed, we've taken those reports, which are somehow insightful. Those who have ruled Lagos, the military administrators, as well as the civilians, which goes back to the question or the point I was alluding to earlier. What do the people expect of the government, and to what extent does that affect their response at future elections?
Well, every citizen of any given locality expects better life for themselves in the key areas of human development indices. You expect good education, which is the future of the state. You expect better healthcare facilities, accessible and affordable. You expect infrastructure, rapid infrastructural development to drive the economy, which in itself will create jobs. In Lagos, the population, it is said that every 10 minutes or so, there is a new settler who is not going out of Lagos, because that is the economic capital of Nigeria. Therefore, the government has enormous responsibility to cater for over 21 million Lagosians. So Lagos is like a mini.
Describe everybody as a Lagosian.
Yes. So
because of what, the accommodation?
Yes. Lagos is accommodating. It's home to all. You have virtually every tribe of Nigeria represented in Lagos, and they are home. So the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos, the accommodating nature of Lagos, the opportunities it presents to the citizens make Lagos very alluring. And what counts in people's mind?
What about the responsibility of the citizens?
Yeah, the responsibility of the citizens
to the government.
To the government. When democracy returned in 1999, I remember that IGR of Lagos was about 350, 400 million. Today, it has gone to billions, meaning that more people are in the tax net, citizens are responsive and responsible to their obligations to government, because in a way, they are seeing what their taxpayer, money is doing. You talk about infrastructural development, you talk about education.
But some people are of the view that given the huge nature, particularly of the internally generated revenue, that they expect a lot more.
Well, you have a state with about 21 million inhabitants. Let's take waste, for instance. The tonnage of waste generated in Lagos will overrun some cities and states in Nigeria. To manage waste in Lagos alone demands so much. You talk of sanitation. You talk of, other education, health, infrastructural development, and all that. So, like they say, to whom much is given, much is expected. As much as they generate that income, they equally, have so much responsibility. And again, it takes us to this issue of fiscal federalism. Because, like VAT, what is generated from Lagos, what Lagos gets in return is not commensurate from what is generated. So, if we are talking about resources control, I think in due course, our legislators should look at it that, look, if Lagos generates so much and contributes so much to the national coffers by way of VAT and other taxes to the federal government, then a special accommodation should be made by the very peculiar nature of Lagos, so that the government can meet up its obligation to citizens.
Are you one of those who are advocating that Lagos should indeed be given a special status?
Absolutely, because of its peculiar nature and challenges.
What would be that status, although they say special?
Yes, the special nature to be accorded Lagos, if you recall that Lagos, like the report we read, or we viewed, was the administrative capital of Nigeria before the seat of power moved to Abuja. Maybe the annual budget, we could say 1% goes to Lagos to take care of our peculiar needs because of the special needs of Lagos. So Lagos have so much to offer to this country, because as the economic capital, it's like the oxygen, the economic oxygen of Nigeria.
But there's a very worrying point in Lagos now. Trailers haven't taken over. The trailer parks are on the bridge, on the roads. Not only have they constituted a menace, but it seems as though the problem is intractable. What are your views?
Well, my view is that certain decisions may not be politically correct. But if you want to please other people, there is no way you will not offend others. Those bridges were not meant to carry static loads. Their infrastructure we built when Nigeria was at her best. If we allow those infrastructure to be wasted, I'm afraid we might not even be in a position to, rebuild them, as it were. And there is just lack of political will. Because I recall that when the president was coming to Lagos for his campaign, the trailer disappeared.
Overnight.
Overnight. So they went where? As soon as the campaign was over, they were back on the bridge. And now, in social media, on radio, we are beginning to hear that certain businesses go on. Negotiation, some illegal levies being, paid to some stakeholders, I don't know. But really, it is not just a danger to other road users, it is wearing the infrastructure.
So Mr. Jimo, sorry to interrupt the flow of your thoughts. We're looking forward to a robust election in Lagos tomorrow.
Exactly. Lagosians, the heightened anxiety and expectation is palpable in the city. Everybody is waiting to cast their vote.
Thank you very much for your time, thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Cyril, we are back to you in Abuja. Thank you very much for accommodating us, and thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Bayo Adewusi in Lagos Network Center, bringing us up to date on the situation in the Center of Excellence. Yes, everywhere we go to, now we're back here in Abuja, everywhere we go to, the talk is about voter turnout and the hope for peaceful, violence-free, and credible elections. But so let's talk a bit about the voters now. And we registered so many millions collected the PVCs. But it would seem that very few are actually turning out to vote. Now, if you take out all the other logistics issues about getting to the centers where they registered, people moving, some not transferring their voters' point, and the apathy they talk about, what's responsible for this? Many are expressing the hope that because this election would be closer to the grassroots, then perhaps many more people will come out. But others are still saying, look, we might still see the same low voter turnout. What's responsible for this apathy?
You see, first of all, I would say I expect to see more people because I am of the view that a whole lot of people will come out because this is an election that has to do with them. Because everybody have that notion of, yeah, the president and the Senate, House of Reps are all in Abuja, while these people are the people that live with us. So I have that view that people will come out. But secondly, the issue of voter apathy, a whole lot of things are happening. I'll give you an example with Benue State, where we see a first-time voter lost his life on his first year of voting. You understand? So most of the people have this issue of security, being cautious to stay at home because of this kind of thing. But I still believe that with the kind of issues we're hearing from maybe the Commissioner of Police here, and the Commissioner of Police and the IG of assuring Nigerians full security. So that fear of security issues will not come on that. And thirdly, I would say, a whole lot of people have this issue of democracy is all about demand and supply. If you don't ask questions, nobody does what you want them to do. I think my organization did something in collaboration with WaterAid to come up with a campaign called Vote for Wash. Now, this campaign is a campaign that we go to grassroots communities that have water-related, wash-related issues and tell them, hey, any politician or any leader that comes to ask you for vote, just ask him one question. What are you going to do regarding this particular problem that we have? This is a wash issue. What are you going to do regarding water? What are you going to do regarding sanitation? What are you going to do regarding health? You understand? So if he makes any commitments, the community are going to tell him, hey, we're going to hold you accountable if we give you our vote. So actually, if we're beginning to do all these things, it's going to reduce the number of people not going out to vote, despite the fact we have a whole lot of people that register because they want to have ID cards. You understand? But it's not actually a thing. We expect to see a whole lot of people coming out with the assurance that INEC gave us and the police of secured votes and free and fair election. We expect to see more people out.
All right, as we always say, Abuja, the federal capital, and its unique status, there will be elections here, but there will be elections into the area councils. And so let's find out how it is like, what's the build-up towards tomorrow's polls in the Federal Capital Territory. And for that, we'll link up with NTA Abuja Channel 5. Sitting in tonight is Fatima Umar Buba. Tell us what's the latest here in the Federal Capital Territory.
Discussing with experts and also someone from INEC that will tell us a whole lot about how prepared the FCT INEC office is, and also we have someone from the Center for Democracy that is going to talk to us about the elections. So you're welcome. Like you heard Cyril said, this is NTA Channel 5 Abuja. And first, we'll be keeping you, up to speed on the latest development in the Federal Capital Territory as residents prepare for the polls in less than 12 hours. First, we will be looking at the mood of the city, and I must tell you that the city is already in the mood, signifying the coming of the elections, and a visit to motor parks and airports will convince you that Nigerians are already getting out to their various registration destination across the country to vote. So we'll begin with a story on the mood of the city, where Hawa Gimba, who went around the capital city, tells us that people are ready and they expressed a whole lot. So let's hear her.
The city of Abuja is still a beehive of activities, with people going about their normal businesses. Speaking to some residents on the FCT area council elections, a cross-section of Nigerians said they are looking forward to casting their ballots come Saturday.
For the turnout per se, is a normal thing that this election fever per se, but the fever compared to other neighboring states, it's not the same thing because of we don't have the Guber, the material election going on. But my advice to the residents that they should go out and cast their vote, because their vote would determine whoever that will run the affairs of FCT.
We are ready to go out and cast our vote. We have our PVC. We have our PVCs ready. Tomorrow, we are going to cast our votes.
Others advise residents to come out en masse to perform their civic duties.
I want to advise FCT residents to come out en masse and do the right thing, irrespective of the party you want to vote for, but they should come out en masse.
Right now, everybody is busy trying to prepare for the next coming election. By tomorrow, let everybody go out there, try to coordinate himself, try to be cooperate and do exercise his civil right and leave the place.
From all indications and reactions from FCT residents, they are all ready to cast their ballot for the area council elections. From the popular Baja Junction in Abuja, I am Hawa Gimba. Is back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Hawa Gimba. That was a report earlier put in together by Hawa Gimba. And now, Deborah Micah reports that the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport recorded larger number of passengers who were traveling to different destinations to exercise their civic right.
Here At the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, the situation is not different from that of the eve of the presidential election. And it's quite impressive as patriotic Nigerians make it a point of duty to travel out of Abuja to cast their ballots. Okay, please tell us the reason behind your journey this afternoon.
Well, I want to go and exercise my right to vote for the next governor of Kano State, inshallah. So that's why I'm traveling today. Everybody should be encouraged to come out, you know, to exercise his right to vote. Because if you don't come out, I mean, you will not get the right leaders.
I come down from Lagos to come and exercise my civic right. I registered in Abuja here, and I feel it's very, very important for me to come back, no matter the cost, to come and exercise my civic right. It is high time Nigerians should understand that time of this nature needs everybody to be on board. Nigerians need to come out in mass to come and vote for the candidate of their choice.
We are going home where we are going to cast our vote at home where we registered. That is the purpose we are living.
Of course, it is a time for us to go and exercise our franchise. It's a nationalistic listen. You can see everybody is going home. I'm going to Kano to cast my vote.
From Kano, I'll be going to Bauchi. I'm going to go and vote for the governorship election. At least your vote is your power now. You can make a difference with your vote.
Of course, I'm going to Maiduguri to vote. We advise them to come out in full force, and they should conduct themselves peacefully and vote for their choice in the most peaceful manner.
Though at the Mutako Motor Park, there was slow turnout of passengers as at the time of finding these reports.
Actually, I'm going for the election for the governorship and the House of Assembly election. But you can see the park is dry. There is no really turnout like presidential election. It's like a normal day journey. People are not really trooping in the way it should be.
Vote for your conscience. That's what I would say. Your vote shouldn't be biased, shouldn't be based on what people ask you to do. Just vote based on your conscience.
From the Wutako Motor Park, it's back to you in the studio.
Well, thank you very much, Deborah Micah. And I told you earlier that we have experts in the house that they're going to talk to us about tomorrow's polls. And I'm being joined by Ndidi Okafo. She is the head voter education and publicity, FCT INEC. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, the good people of FCT.
Yes, she's going to be speaking to us, like I said, about tomorrow's polls. But this time around, we're looking at the electoral umpire in the FCT, and that is why you are here. Well, from the reports that we've seen, FCT residents are prepared, and FCT indigenes are prepared to go to the polls tomorrow. So how ready is INEC? Have you concluded the distributions of all the sensitive materials to polling units?
Yes, hands-on information. As a matter of fact, I'm just coming from one of the registration area camps. I have just been through about 3-4 before coming to the studio, and the materials have been distributed according to polling units. The transporters also have started coming in.
Okay.
Yes, so that, and then the feeding and transportation, the allowances of the corpus for tonight are being paid.
You mean all the logistics now are ready?
Yes, we're doing that, which we must do to ensure that the exercise, is smooth, is pleasant. And we're also doing, as I said on other platforms, we're doing confidence building for the ad hoc staff. I had just finished addressing them at the Gariki camp.
Okay.
Reminding them of the rules, the importance of being respectful, because they are dealing with elders and human beings like them.
Okay.
And they must be respectful, but must also be confident in insisting that the rules must be obeyed. It's important that they use the card readers that the resident electoral commissioner of INEC FCT, Haji Yaya Bello, has, emphasized and also directed that those of us supervising the area councils must also emphasize the use of the smart card readers, and that I did in all the talks that I gave to
ad hoc staff and all the workers for tomorrow.
Yes.
So what you're practically saying is that FCT INEC is ready for tomorrow's poll.
By the grace of Almighty God, everything that must be done is being done. So putting finishing touches. That's why we're supervising. Okay. That's why we're going to the camps to see if our officers are obeying the rules, are doing what they should do. And our target is simple, that by 7 in the morning tomorrow, that all the ad hoc staff and materials would have been at the polling unit, because it's important that they get there early, look at the place, set it up, see if there are campaign materials or posters, remove them, and then set up the polling units. Of course, you know that accreditation and voting is for 8 a.m.
All right. So earlier, an election observation group, the Center for Democracy and Development, precisely, insisted on the strict enforcement of, all electoral regulations and guidelines, with a major concern on the use of smart card readers. What's your take on that?
They are only reinforcing what the Commission has already directed the ad hoc staff to do. It's important that they do that because, you use the smart card readers to confirm, verify, and authenticate so that the voter can vote. We are also reminding them that having confirmed and verified the authenticity of the permanent voter card, no voter must be stopped from voting because of authentication. Now, if there is a technical problem with authenticating the fingers and the voter's name is on the voter register, the card has been confirmed and verified, that voter must be allowed to vote by thumb printing where his name or her name is found on the register of voters. So you will vote if you're Nigerian, if you have a permanent voter card, if your name is on the register, if you go to your polling unit, you're physically present, and you submit to the accreditation and voting procedure.
So lastly, what measures have you put in place, to avoid people or electorates to be, disenfranchised? It was experienced, at the first batch of these elections. Do you have any measures?
We're not aware that anyone was disenfranchised in the FCT, but I'm just saying.
Not in the FCT. It wasn't being the FCT.
But you know that I speak for the good people of the Federal Capital Territory, and I do not have the details of whatever it is that you're talking about in other states.
Okay, fine.
But hands-on, I can tell you about the FCT. And that part of the measure is what we're doing. That's why we've been going round tonight, to remind the ad hoc staff of the procedure. No one must be disenfranchised. First, if your name is on the register, your card has been read, and all you need to do, if there's a technical problem, is to allow that voter to thumb print, you sign, stamp, and date the ballot paper so that the voter can vote. Now, another important information, please, is that voting does not close at 2 p.m. It's important. Now, what closes at 2 p.m. is joining the queue to vote.
Okay, that's a very, very good information there. I know that people out there will be surprised to hear that voting doesn't end at 2 p.m. It's only joining the queue that ends at 2 p.m.
Yes,
thank you very
on
much.
The queue by 2 p.m. must be allowed to vote.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ndidi Okafor. Yes, I have been speaking with Ndidi Okafor. She is the head voter education and publicity FCT INEC. Thank you very much for coming
God bless you.
to this studio.
Thank you.
Well, residents of Cairo in Abuja Municipal Area Council have promised to avail themselves the opportunity to participate in the coming Area Council elections. And Deborah Micah, who spoke to some people from that end in Abuja, filed in this report.
Following the outcome of last election, which has been adjudged free, fair and peaceful, some residents of Karu say their keen interest in selecting credible leaders did not stop at the presidential election, as they are ready to come out again this Saturday to select their leaders at the area council level, because these are leaders much more closer to them.
Yes, we are prepared for it.
The last election, I participated. But presently I'm in Karu anyway, but my polling unit is in Guber. If the team will be free and fair.
Formerly, I was not even having intention of coming to vote because I was having a notion, an idea that I have already voted my own candidate. Going by the enlightenment going on in the television, I happen to have to pick interest. I want to come out on Saturday to vote. And I am advising my fellow Nigerians not to think that because we finish presidential voting that you will not vote again. If possible, if you have money, if you have the means, travel back again to your state so that you exercised your right of voting the candidate of your choice.
Among the challenges of the last election, they highlighted is the alleged malfunction of smart card readers at polling units.
But the previous one we had was it last 2 weeks or last week? It was a bit fair in my polling unit, I must confess and attest to that. So hopefully we are looking forward for other improvements. Like the card reader in my polling unit was not that friendly. It was not friendly at all. So they had to use the incident form. So I don't think they did not use card reader at all.
The residents, however, called on the INEC presiding officers to begin the voting process early this Saturday.
And with few hours to the FCT area council elections, our correspondent Ainaji Auta visited Mpape, a community in Buari area council, to fill the polls of the electorates.
As residents of the FCT get set to go to the polls to vote those who will represent them at various area councils, Mpape community in Buari area council is not left out.
We, the people of Mpape, we are trying to vote the right candidates for the area council.
I'm very, very ready for tomorrow election. I have a voter's card. I will go and vote for my choice. That's just it. I want the same thing to happen again. Because then there was no trouble, no problem, nothing.
I will go out and vote for the candidate of my choice tomorrow. We are just praying as the same thing that happened last time. God will still help us. We will still vote for the candidate of our choice. And we pray that may God help us so that He will choose the right person for us.
The people say they do not only want to go and vote for the sake of voting, but they want intelligent and credible leaders who are ready to serve them and make life better for them. Ainaji Auta, over now to the studio.
Thank you very much, Ainaji Auta. And our second guest is seated. He is Austin Egbe, Senior Program Officer, Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Good to have you.
Nice to have me. Thank you.
Well, as an election observer, are you satisfied with the FCT INEC preparations for the council?
So what we have seen is clear. We hope that by tonight, already we know that sensitive and non-sensitive materials are already at the rack centers, moving ahead in the morning, as early as 5 a.m. in the morning, moving straight to the polling unit. So what we have seen is that based on the logistic challenge we had in the previous election, where certain areas in the Federal Capital Territory had no material, even up to 1 p.m., based on what we've gotten, they step up. We hope that by tomorrow, 8 a.m. in the morning, voters across the city, across the Federal Capital Territory should have been voting by 8 a.m. and by 2 p.m. voting should have ended, or until when the last person on the queue would have voted. But yes, for the now, what we've seen is that there's a trajectory towards perfection, even though perfection isn't realistic in these terms. But we know that they've improved beyond, but the improvement is based on what we see